welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming out of that fast break here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and open all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. You know, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Binghamton University Bearcats, I have the honor and the privilege all throughout the year to tell the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni connected to the greater Bearcat family. And I'm here with Nate Lucier today in this edition of the Bearcat Breakroom with the Binghamton Wrestling student athlete following his time inside of the U23 Nationals. And with that being said, Nate, happy to have you here and to be able to welcome you to the show. Good morning, and how are you?
Good morning to you. I'm doing great. Just got back the other day. It was a good experience. I had a good time. I love to compete. It was a good time, but I've been doing well.
And you and I were talking off the air. You said you feel like you get progressively more sore. I'm sore for another reason. I just had surgery, so my soreness comes and goes. Your soreness came on the mat. How's the body doing right now?
It's doing good. I would say day 2 I woke up and felt pretty dang good. And now on the ride home, I was starting to hurt a little bit, and then I woke up and my neck is real stiff, upper back is pretty shot. But yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the soreness. Got to be grateful for it.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, got to be grateful for the soreness because it means you get to do something you love and something you appreciate. How do you navigate the after effects that we're talking about right now? What do you do for your body after going to a meet, after, putting yourself through whatever comes your way? What is the regimen afterward to try and reset your body?
For me, I try and get as much sleep as possible. And I know some guys, like I talked to Carter Bear, my teammate, about this the other day. At least after competitions, I have a hard time sleeping, it's weird. I don't know if it's just the anxiety and just, all the matches that kind of happened. But I try and get as much sleep as I can. Like if I can nap the next day, I can, I'll do that. I'll eat, good stuff, make sure I'm, replenishing my glycogen. Getting hydrated is very key too, especially after a hard weight cut. But, just kind of your simple stuff, nothing too crazy. If you're really sore, I'll rip like a hot bath, cold bath.
Yeah, so like you said, you're putting yourself through a bunch of different things. You said hot bath, cold bath. Has your body, I mean, most of us being warm-blooded, a nice warm bath feels good, but you have to get your body to a place where an ice bath or a cold bath actually feels good. Bring me into how your body reacts to it. Is it something that just over time you almost become numb to it? Or how do you, because I've been to NFL training camps. You see guys in a giant garbage can in an ice bath, and they're just talking, hanging out like it's a nice warm bath on a hot summer day. And then I think about being in an ice bath and I'm like, would I freeze to death? So how do you get used, how did your body get used to it? How do you accustom yourself to being warm-blooded and then putting yourself essentially in a giant cold glass of water?
I think that, at least for me, it's more of the mental switch.
Okay.
And, it's like the leading up to it. It's like the anticipation of just getting in. And once you get in, I think you realize it's not that bad. And kind of like you said, to that point of, you do it for so long, you just get used to it. And, you just kind of adapt. I think that once you start to do it more, though, like you said, the conversations you can have while being cold, it just kind of happens because the guy next to you is also freezing, so it kind of helps a little bit too. But I think it's just the anticipation that kills the most, at least for me. That's just my experience.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what you're saying is your mind makes it always worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the anticipation, it's the setup, right? You watch a scary movie before you see whatever the alien looks like, your brain makes the alien so much worse. So the longer they don't show you, the kind of more anxiety and stress your body has, and then you see it, and then you're like, oh, it's not that bad. So how do you deal with that side of it, with the mental side of it, overcoming the mind, so to speak, utilizing your mind as a positive and controlling your mind instead of your mind controlling you? Because it's always the setup, the anticipation that can get us nervous, stressed, anxious. So how do you gain control of your mind instead of the other way around?
That's a really good question. And honestly, if you don't mind me, I'm going to deviate a little bit from the ice bath specifically.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a tool and a skill that takes a lot and like a lot of practice, and you just have to apply it, right? Prime example, honestly, was this past weekend at U23. So I am probably one of the most anxious people ever. I get anxious over the smallest things, and I try to fight it. But I think that the one thing that has started to work for me, and Coach LeBlanc has really, drilled this into our heads, at least mine, it really, got through mine, is it's like you just look back right before I was about to wrestle this weekend. I just thought of how hard we've been training, how I train specifically, just me. You know what I mean? Like I like to hit my reps clean. I like to hit them right every single time. And just that, I know that the guy across from me, he's not doing the reps like me. He's not pushing himself. He's not intentionally doing the reps as good as me. And then you get the positive affirmation off of your hard work, that you kind of talk into yourself. And another thing too that kind of helps me is my faith in Christ. And you know that's a big thing that Carter Bear and I kind of discuss with each other. Every day we kind of jokingly say it, but it's true. We always say we already won. We already won. We're playing dodgeball and we're saying that, but it I don't know if he realizes it, but it's helped me immensely over the past couple months, just because it puts things into perspective. I go to wrestle at a tournament. That in itself is just awesome. Like me being able to be at this level to go compete is crazy. And then me being able to go win is also great, and just go and have fun. And, I think just having to answer your question in short, I'm a big rambler, but, I think it's trusting in your training, being confident in your training, and, having whatever your faith is depending on that is your main source of joy.
Yeah, and I love that you brought up your faith. And Carter Bear's been on the show before, and we've discussed that as well. You said we already won. Before the match starts, before anything happens, we already won. What does that look like to you? What does that feel like to you? We already won.
When I say that to myself, we already won. I just imagine it's like I'm in my own vision.
Yeah.
And then I just zoom out, and then you see Earth is like the smallest speck of dust, right? And for me to get so wound up and so nervous, and letting the negative emotions creep in too much, that just does a disservice to what I can actually display and perform. And to relate that to my faith, it's like me losing this match isn't going to take away my salvation in Christ. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to do all these negative things that I kind of start to think in my mind. And it just helps me to be where my feet are, like just be present and fixate on just going out and having fun.
Yeah, I love these conversations, and I've gotten to have so many of them with Binghamton University, which warms my heart because this partnership meant a lot to me to get going. And then once it got going, talking with the Bearcat family, I've been moved even farther than I thought I was going to be. The conversations have been fantastic, but there's been so many conversations about God. And I believe in God. My faith is everything to me, but I don't force it on people. I let people share what they want to share. And once they share it, I'll engage and talk with you about it. You said doesn't have to do with your salvation. Winning a match, whether you do or not, is not going to affect your salvation. We sin, we fail, we falter all the time. We are not perfect, and God doesn't owe us anything. So what makes you believe that you and I and the people watching and listening can be saved, will be saved, knowing that this world really doesn't deserve it, so to speak?
Well, I mean, that's a great It's a deep question. And the one thing that sort of comes to my mind, and I want to shout out Brendan Hitchcock and Dave Maynor and all the other guys that have kind of guided me into this Bible study and just honestly into the faith as well. And obviously, thanks be to God. But I think of Ephesians 2:8 and 9. I can't recite it off the top of my head. It's you have been saved through grace, not by, or sorry, you've been saved through grace or by faith, and not by works alone. Is basically what it's saying, and not to take away from the meaning of it, but you know that's been one of the biggest verses I think that has led our Bible study, and honestly has led my faith, because at the end of the day, like you said, we're all sinners, we all fall short, right? We all automatically align with Adam and Eve, regardless of if we want to or not. That is on our record,
Yeah.
and we have an out, right? We have an out to eternal life through Jesus Christ, and I think it's a thing where I try and use my voice, to spread the good news. But like you said, I'm not going to sit here and force my beliefs on people. Like I will always plant the seed. I want to plant as many seeds as I can with family, friends, whoever it may be. But it's a tough thing to say, for who may or may not hear it. But that's the one thing that kind of comes to my mind is Ephesians 2:8 and 9.
Yeah, and a beautiful passage in the Bible. Absolutely incredible that you picked this. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves, it is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. So just an awesome. See, this is what I love, because God finds me where I'm at. He finds you where you're at. But this is the thing, like, you and I haven't had a conversation before, yet I'm so excited about this conversation a few minutes in that I already feel grateful and I already feel blessed. So I'm going to say this to you, Nate. Whatever we talk about in the wrestling world, whatever wins come your way, which I hope many do and many more than losses, I want to thank you for strengthening my faith today just by being the person that you are.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously. It means a lot. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned Carter Bear. And so I gotta say this about, I want to know your thoughts. Like, if you were to describe Carter Bear to someone that never met him, never been around him, nothing, I know that I appreciate him and I very much value and just, it means a lot to me the fact that him and I have even crossed paths. The same for you. How would you describe Carter Bear to somebody who never met him?
He's one of the most caring and considerate individuals I think that I've ever crossed paths with. And he has a unique story. It's similar to mine. It's actually kind of weird in a way, in a good way. We both came to college unsaved. Like, I didn't believe in anything growing up, and Carter could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he did either, and we both kind of fell into this. And I think that Carter, the way that I've seen Carter grow is extremely. I'm very grateful to kind of see it, because he's taught me a lot, right? Even though I had been saved, I don't know, a year or so prior to him, and he's taught me so much, and I don't even think he necessarily realizes that. But he's one of the most kind-hearted and just gentle and caring individuals. And he might not look like he's very gentle just because of how he's a stocky dude, but he's a great friend, and he's like the epitome of a brother in Christ, in my opinion. That's my guy right there.
Yeah, and I love that we get to share this and positivity and talk about faith today, because it can help somebody else out there somewhere that's watching and listening. For you to be a part of this squad, of this team, Nate, when you look at Binghamton Bearcats wrestling, what does this team mean to you? This experience, this family, what has this done for your life as you're sitting here with me as a redshirt senior? You put time in. What have the Bearcats meant to you?
Well, I think that the Bearcats, honestly, the guys who are still on the team, the guys who have left and graduated, it's meant the world to me. I think it opened up so many different perspectives that I learn so much that I kind of almost forget because but it's so valuable. Like I think I take a piece of everyone and I sort of just kind of try and hold on to it and take their perspective into consideration. And I'm extremely grateful for just everything that I've experienced in the Binghamton program. And I think about this a lot, and I'm not necessarily trying to put myself down, and I don't really think I am, honestly. But I have not been the most successful college wrestling or college wrestler in the past, I don't know. I mean, I would say, yeah, 5-ish years roughly. And that's something that I struggled with when I, first became a Christian, right? Wrestling was my identity, and I had to pick it up and put my anchor in Christ. And it's very difficult, and it still is very difficult. But these guys that have surrounded me, such as Carter, Sammy Dupre, Louis Dupre, Michael Zarif, Micah Rose, all these believers that have been in my life have truly been a blessing to me and my faith. And then the guys who are non-believers, they still, are very loving and caring. And I love every single guy that I've ever been teammates with. I think we really have a bond like no other. It's actually incredible. And I'm the word that honestly has been on my mind the past couple months is just gratitude.
They say that you cannot have gratitude and negativity, like they can't coexist together. That if you have a grateful heart and if you focus on being grateful and thankful and having gratitude, that you can't have that and kind of live in this negative space at the same time. I knew you were going to say gratitude. How does having a an attitude of gratitude, how does that kind of build upon itself? Do you believe that when you are grateful, it compounds itself and turns into a domino effect of more things to be grateful for?
Yes. And that's something that I have been realizing the past couple of weeks and maybe about a month or so, a month and a half. And it's incredible. It's the most it's one of the coolest experiences that I've noticed, and I'm so thankful for God for allowing me to kind of see it this way because right, let's say, I mean, the other day example, I'm cutting weight for the second day, and I'm not I didn't really need to cut that much weight. I probably went too hard regardless, right? In the moment, I'm sitting there, I'm having my teammate Dylan Eric put me through, just your typical weight cut stuff, stance of motion, blah blah blah. And I'm like thinking, man, this sucks. I hate this. Why am I doing this? I hate it. I hate it. And then it just hit me. I'm like, dude, you asked for this, man. Like, this is what you wanted when you were a kid. Like,
Yeah.
you wanted this. Like, this is what I used to train with my buddy Dom Findora and Sam McMonigal. I used to train with them, in a little box barn in Dom's backyard. Like, this is what I wish for, right? And I think that in those moments, that's where you just get this relief of, wow, I'm here. Like, this is it. This is what I wanted my whole life. So why am I gonna pout? Why am I gonna pout? This is what I've asked for. So I have to be grateful because if I'm not, I will regret it in X amount of years.
Yeah. Like you said, I mean, be grateful in the tough moments, be grateful in the iceberg that nobody sees because the majority of the iceberg is always under the water. And all
Mm-hmm.
that work, like you said, cutting weight, all those things you have to do. People see you and they're like, okay, you walk out there and you go wrestle and you go do your thing. And it's like, you don't know the amount of film and the amount of lifting and what I have to do when I'm eating and the regimen I have to have with my sleep. And I got to get my classwork done. And I want to have a social life. And, I got to get my mind right. I got to pray. I got to meditate. There's all of these things underneath the water, like cutting weight, that nobody sees before match day. Why do you value the entire road to the mat and not just match day itself?
I think that's another good one. You got a lot of good questions, but I think that I do that because it's about the journey, right? It's not about where you end up. And it's a very niche thing. You could say it's not about the kill, it's about the hunt. There's different ways to put this, but I don't think because if I were to fixate on the outcome, at least in the past 3 years or 4 years, whatever, my outcome, I would be miserable. Like you know what I mean? Like I never qualified for the NCAA, so I'm not All American. I'm not a national champ. I haven't accomplished any of my goals. And if I were to only fixate on the outcome in the match and the duel, the tournament, my mindset would crumble. Like there would be no root in anything. And I think that when you just embrace the hard things and the good things, that's when you begin to just realize like that's the gratitude in itself. And it's a hard thing to do. And that's, I didn't want to cut you off earlier, but for, anyone that listens to this or is struggling with being grateful, I think you have to just start with the obvious things. Like every day I wake up, I'm just extremely grateful. I get in the car and I pray and I just say, Lord, thank you for waking me up. Me waking up is a blessing in a disguise. And I think a lot of people overlook it. And just right from there, anything else that happens in that day, I have to be grateful for because I woke up. I got to experience whatever it is. If I get robbed, if I lose my match, you know what I mean? It's whatever it is. It's just, you got to just have that mindset of finding one thing and just letting it domino effect, as you said earlier.
And I love that because I tell people, I say, if you wake up with problems, at least you're alive to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because 6 feet under, you don't have no problems. You also aren't living and on this planet. So I tell people all the time, if you're alive and you have a problem, it's a blessing to be alive and have it. If you have people you can call and they care about you enough to listen and help you through the problem, and if you have somebody to call and complain to, that's a blessing. So you might be focused on the problem when you should be grateful that mom answers, dad answers, your best friend, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, that you have a dog or a cat that shows you love and sits with you and has your back all the time. There's so many things that happen in life that you can flip over the other way. I was just thinking about the fact where my grandfather's died when I was 6. Most angry I've ever been at God. Didn't turn my back on him completely, didn't leave, didn't go to the other side, won't ever go there. I was upset though. And I look back at that time and I was talking about it on the show, I think a few days ago. And I was like, my grandfathers were both in World War II. So many things could have gone wrong and they don't come home. If one of them didn't come home, there's no me. So I can say, God, why did I only have them on this planet for 6 years? Or I can say, God, thank you for getting them home to have them be here so that I could have my parents and then I could be born. Because if you took them before 1992, if you took them before they had my mom and my dad, then there's no me. So yes, I spent my life as a kid saying, why did this happen to me? And now as an adult, I say, thank you for getting them home, or else I would have never gotten here. And it's just a different way to look at it.
Yeah.
So, for those watching and listening, it really is all about perspective. And as we continue the conversation here with Nate Lucier, here with us as we speak on his time at Binghamton, as well as the greater Binghamton family here in this Bearcat Breakroom and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University, of course, here in WakeUpCall with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. What got you into wrestling in the beginning? How did this all happen, Nate? Where did the love come from, and how did you keep it going?
I think I got a flyer in kindergarten or first grade, and I brought it home to my dad. And he asked me if that's what I wanted to do. And I said, yeah, I was a little kid filled with ADHD. So, I'm sure they signed me up pretty fast. And, ever since, I think I just kind of kept the ball rolling. I didn't really see any success, I don't think, really until my sophomore year of high school. And that's when it kind of clicked for me. I was like, well, I can either continue living the life that I'm living and not go to college for wrestling, or I can sort of fix the things that I'm doing wrong and, try and make a name for myself and, go to college hopefully for free or just, get an opportunity. And, that's kind of where the fire started, I think. And also just trying to make my family proud. My mom and dad and sister put a lot of time and money, into me being where I'm at right now. So, yeah.
You said you brought home a flyer in kindergarten. What do you want to say to the person that put that flyer out there all those years ago?
Just a big thank you and a big hug, honestly. Because, without that, I mean, yeah, I believe I would have found Christ, another way, but I would not have met the brothers in Christ and just the teammates and friends and long time friends, if I didn't pick up that flyer, that person didn't put that flyer out. So I'd give them a big old hug and just a nice big thank you.
Yeah, it's funny. People call them coincidences. I call them Godincidences
Yes, yeah,
because
yep.
I do not believe that anything happens surely by chance.
No,
I want to
no.
talk about hometown. So, Coatesville, Pennsylvania. It's the only city in Chester County, Pennsylvania. The population as of 2024, less than 14,000 people. Now, it's only 39 miles west of Philadelphia, but what's it like to have the only city in the entire county, and how would you describe Coatesville, PA?
I think Coatesville is there's no way to describe it. I love that place. It's home. It's like anyone else is gonna say about their hometown. Anytime I'm away, even though I live in New York now, it's still New York just doesn't feel like home. And Coatesville, it has it just has some of the most, loving and caring people, I think, in the community. And it's a very warm feeling you get when you're there. It's sort of hard to describe in all honesty, but it's a great place. It's somewhere that I really want to live later in life, but there's it's pretty expensive in Chester County, so that's a bit of a drawback, but I do love it there. It's a great place.
And it's not, and I love hearing that about your hometown. You could tell it means a lot to your heart. You're not that far from Philly. I've been in Philly, did some card shows in Philly. I ran the Rocky Steps in Philly and filmed it. Didn't like the filming of it, so I ran back down and ran right back up a second time. And my knee wasn't even necessarily 100% that day. So I could say I ran the steps not once, but twice. And if you count running down it, 3 times. So what can you say about Philly? How often have you visited Philly? And can you tell me where the place is to go for a cheesesteak? I'm not going to tell you the 2 places that I've been told more often that are the off the beaten path ones that are not the ones you hear from people that are talking about kind of the commercialized. There's 2 places people have told me. I've been to one of them, but I want to know what's your experience with Philadelphia and do you have a cheesesteak spot?
Okay, I don't go to Philly as much as I probably should,
Okay.
just because of it's Philly. It's a great place. I've gone there, PRTC practices. I think I've gone a couple of times just hang out with some friends. Now, cheesesteak wise, I'm not going to give you the typical Pats and Geno's. Now, look, I'm not going to say it's bad, but
Yeah.
it's like the Domino's and Papa John's of pizza, in my opinion, right? It's not like it will get you by.
Yeah.
But me, the best cheesesteak I think I've had is probably from Angelo's.
Okay. So you say Angelo's.
Mm-hmm.
I was told Max's and Ishkabibbles.
Okay.
Now, I did not get to Ishkabibbles because my buddy who was driving refused to go anywhere inside of Philly, but he did go to Max's, which was on the corner, and it wasn't too far from the Rocky Steps. I will tell you, the first bite or two from Max's, I was like, oh, this tastes pretty basic. And then as I ate the cheesesteak, the more it like lived on my taste buds. And I was like, all right, Max's, I feel you. So I can tell you that people have told me Max's and Ishkabibbles that have a connection to Philly. And I can say that my experience of Max's has been very good.
Okay, I might have to write this down. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, write down Max's and Ishkabibbles. I do not know how to spell it, but I, I I heard good things about it, and I think there's two of them. I think there's an Ishkabibbles and an Ishkabibbles too, if my
Okay.
memory serves me correctly. But so, what is your go-to food then? Like you said, you love home, you love Coatesville. Do you have a restaurant that's local to your home? And if you do, is there something that you get all the time?
Oh wow, that's tough, man. I'm sure a lot of wrestlers probably say they're foodies. Dang. In Coatesville, I would say, I mean, a classic for me would be like Milton, or nah, probably like Venice Pizza. My dad and I and my sister used to always go there. But if you're gonna allow me to travel a little bit, like 30, 40 minutes, I
Yeah.
have to say Fogo de Chao.
Okay.
It's a Brazilian steakhouse. You know, you get like your red and green card, flip it over when you want steak. That place is just phenomenal. I may or may not have gone there twice in 1 week,
Yeah.
but it's that place is. Whew.
I could tell you this. When you go to like, I mean, for me, and you just said you've been to somewhere more, more than once in a week. There's places where I won't go forever, and then I'll go on a Monday, and then I'm back on Tuesday, maybe on Friday. Like there's just something that gives you that, like, oh, I haven't had this in so long, and I want to like enjoy it as long as, especially if you're out of town and you go to a restaurant and you're only there for 4 days. There's a place in Atlanta that has fantastic homemade nachos, and it's really close to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where I do a lot of my coverage of college football. So, Tin Lizzie's is the name of the place, and I will stay at a hotel that I know when I come out of the hotel, it is maybe a 5 minute walk. And I was there for like 2 or 3 days, and I went there twice. And I went there right before I got on the plane. It was the last thing I did before I left Atlanta. So I get it.
That's what it's all about, though.
Yeah, it's about finding the good places and enjoying them. So before we get into rapid fire, where we get to put each other on the hot seat for a few questions here, you just wrapped up the U23 Nationals. I want to give a little background here. So you competed on behalf of the Bearcat Wrestling Club, reached the quarterfinals on Saturday to end the month of May, on Saturday, May 30th, after winning all four of your matches in the freestyle tournament at 70 kilograms. On Sunday, you were the number 41 seed in the bracket, faced the top seed in Jordan Williams with a trip to the semifinals. You picked up the first takedown in the opening period and moved ahead 2-0. Williams did tie the bout with a 2-point takedown later in the first period. The bout remained tied heading into the second period until Williams took the lead by gaining a point after taking you down. And while you went toe-to-toe with Williams for the remainder of the bout, he ended up winning it with a 3-2 decision. The number 41 seed going up against the top seed, and you gave him everything you possibly could to a 3-2 decision. I know it wasn't a victory, but I'm going to use some of your words. I think you already won, coming in as the 41 seed, going up against the top seed and making sure that Williams wasn't going to make it out of that thing unless he gave it every inch that he had.
Yeah. That was um I had a good win early, the night before. The guy I beat in the round before the quarters. He's pretty solid, and that was a good win. But LeBlanc always tells us we got it. Coach LeBlanc, he always says we got it. Can't get too high, can't get too low. And that match, honestly, when I saw because I know who Jordan Williams is. He's like he's a pretty good wrestler, but I'm not gonna sit here and get all anxious and worried because like you just told me, as I told you earlier,
Yeah.
I already won.
Yeah.
So and this guy bleeds the same blood that I do, and honestly, as I said before too, this is what I asked for, right? Like if you want to get better at something, you got to face the best, right? I'm not gonna go and wrestle Joe Schmo who's been wrestling for a year, right? I don't want that. That's not gonna get me to advance. And it was fun, man. Like that those are the matches that I absolutely live for and love. Like when it's a minute left, you're down, you got to go get it. It's just that's the epitome to me. Like to me, that's what the epitome of wrestling is. And I live for nothing else. That is the my favorite thing. Obviously, it would be my favorite if I won, but it's just a loss, man. It's just two guys scrapping. That's what I boil it down to.
Well, and you don't get to the quarterfinals unless you go 4-0. So I got to give you a shout out representing the Bearcats at the U23s, starting off this thing 4-0 to put yourself in the quarterfinals and then being in such a close contest on the mat with the number one seed, the top seed overall. I got to say, I mean, Nate, in my opinion, you did win. You made a statement for Binghamton. You let the world know. And I don't simply look at wins and losses. That's never been me. I look at this and say to myself, you earn the right to get to the quarters. You earn the right to play the top seed. And you put the top seed in a place where this looked more like 1v2, not 1v41. So I got to say to you, Nate, if you haven't achieved certain things that you look to achieve, let me be the one to say to you, you achieve something that you should always keep in your heart. What do they say? Never let the losses go to your heart and the wins go to your head. I'm going to tell you, take this loss and turn it into a victory in your heart and make sure you let that sit there for the rest of your life, because doing what you did showed that seeds don't matter, schools don't matter. It matters the fight in somebody. And essentially what Rocky Balboa said, not how hard you get hit, but how much you can take and keep moving forward in any walk of life. What you did in this matchup at the U23s to go 4-0, to put yourself there, to face the top seed, and to make it come down to a 3-2 decision, I got to tell you, I've known you for as long as we've talked here today, and I'm proud of you. So I hope that you're proud of yourself, and I hope that you build upon this in your life and remember that in moments of adversity, it doesn't matter how the world sees you. It matters how God sees you.
Amen. I appreciate that, Dan. Seriously. Thank you.
Of course. Well, you earned it. So with that being said, Nate, let's play some rapid fire. We're going to put each other on the hot seat. We can ask any question, any topic, and we have to answer it. You can ask me the first question. I'll ask you the next, and we'll go back and forth. What do you got?
Okay. If you had to take down Charlie Tibbetts, one of our heavyweights, with your life on the line, do you think you could get him down?
Well, I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'll tell you my answer.
Okay.
So I am somebody who, I'm looking at Charlie right at 6'2", 285. God bless you, Charlie. You got me beat by, he's almost double my weight, and I am 5'8". But I will tell you this. So my cousin Jeff, sorry, Jeff, if you're watching and listening to this, but the truth is the truth. So Jeff's big on wrestling. And Jeff invited me over to his house growing up as a kid. And I was probably a teenager. He was a year older than me, year or two older than me. And he wanted to wrestle in the house on the hardwood floors. You know, like if we fall, it's going to hurt. We're going to bang into stuff. You could fall off the landing. There was all kinds of things that were there. And I'm the type of person where there's nothing I believe I can't do with God at my side. So he thought he had me beat because he watches wrestling all the time and he knows all the moves and yada, 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 yada. And he's bigger than me and he's older than me. Well, I won so much at his house that he kicked me out of his house. And he told me, this was back in the day where, you know, I'm not driving yet and you got to call like your mom on the house phone. So he made me go wait at the front door because not only was he done with me at the house, but he didn't even want me to hang out. So I had to go wait for my mom at the front door. And then I told her in the car that why I had to leave was because I beat him so many times. So I was very proud of myself. Now, I am not a boastful person. I was just a person where if you trash talk me and tell me I can't, you're giving me energy, you're giving me fuel, you're giving me locker room material. So I would say to Charlie, as much as I respect and love my Bearcats, I would say, Charlie, talk trash to me and give God and I a reason to take you down. I will tell Charlie, no matter how strong you are, how fast you are, how agile you are, I can promise you, I do not go down without a fight. And I'm probably going to surprise you because I am not somebody that takes anything lightly, nor do I believe that I can ever truly fail if I give it my all and I do it with God. So, Charlie, I will tell you, talk trash to me because it amps me up, and let's see what you got.
We might have to make this happen.
And Charlie, just for so I'm on record, I love you dearly, and I appreciate you. So, with that being said, okay, if you could fight any celebrity on the mat, what celebrity would you want to go up against and why?
Oh, man. That's a good one. I would say Chuck Norris.
Okay.
And, you know, I think I can take him. Honestly, Chuck Norris, I can take him.
Okay. I like it.
I think he's a little overrated in my opinion, and I think he's rest in peace, Chuck Norris. But you know, I think if he was still here, I would take him.
The Texas Ranger. All right, I like the answer. What's your next one for me?
If this is actually going to be kind of funny, if you were to cut weight, do you think that you would watch people eat food to help provide mental clarity for the fact that you can't eat?
So would I watch other people eat to help me not eat?
Basically, or it's like you kind of live vicariously through them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if I put my mind to something, then I'm going to do it. So I don't know that I would have to watch anybody else or live vicariously through them. I think the best thing for me would be to not think about it and just do what I got to do. But I've already cut weight and I wasn't big, but like I have muscle, but I've cut my body weight to like what I was in like college, which is insane. And I'm very grateful for it. And I look forward to toning it and keeping it all, tight and ready for life. But yeah, I mean, I don't have to cut weight now, but yeah, I think if I was not having to eat certain things, I would just I'd probably just keep myself away from them. But I also know that I have willpower. Like I know I can have chips or cookies in my house and not eat them for months to the point where I have to throw them out. So
okay,
I know I can do it. Mind over matter. My question back to you, Nate. If you were to star in a fictional world of a movie or TV show, what world would you want to live in and why?
Dang, that's good. I would say the fictional world, I would have to say The Wire.
Okay.
I mean, I guess that is kind of real though, but I guess it's a fake, but I like it. I love The Wire. It's one of my favorite shows. But I think I could really crack down on some of the street guys for sure. I think McNulty probably could have done a better job.
Okay. All right. It's funny. A lot of things are coming full circle in our conversation, and my dad just started watching The Wire. So I think that's really funny because he's been trying to get me to watch it. All right, what's your last question for me, Nate?
Um, wow. Okay, if you had to give up, okay, actually, this will be good.
Okay.
What would you rather give up for until you had to make weight? Like you're either really hungry or really thirsty,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to give up one for 24 hours, food or water. And I know you said the willpower, but like I know I have willpower, and this is just me. This is just me speaking.
Yeah.
But like the one thing I notice when I cut weight, and most people can agree, it's like when you're really dehydrated. Like I would watch videos of people drinking water. It gets that bad. So
Okay.
what do you think you would like better, to be hungry or to be thirsty?
I would rather be hungry than thirsty. I drink a
Yeah.
lot of water and I broadcast for a living. So I would say I'd want to be hungry rather than being thirsty. And I kind of like inadvertently fasted a couple months ago and I saw my ability to do it and like over days. So I would say I've already kind of put myself in be hungry, not thirsty. And I've shown myself that I could do it.
Yeah,
So I'd say that.
that's a good answer. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. My last question for you, Nate. Mm. If you and I were sitting here with Jesus right now, which we are, but let's say he's physically on camera and we're both in the same room with him, what three questions would you ask Jesus?
Man, that's tough. Man, I don't even know. I think first I would ask him if I could give him a hug and a kiss on the cheek, kiss his feet. Second, man, that's a good question. Holy crap. What would I ask him? That's deep.
You can ask him anything you want.
Man. I think the one I almost yeah, I think I would ask him um if I have led more people to Christ than strayed more people from Christ. And I think that I would ask him that because that's something that I kind of always kind of worry about in a way. Like I never want to lead someone away. You know, like as I said earlier, I never want to like force my religion upon someone.
Yeah.
But and I think that there's ways about sharing it that can be healthy. But that's something I think I would ask. I wish I could give you another one, but there's so many. Like that's a good question. I'm gonna think on that. I'm gonna get back to you on that last one.
Okay. No. And you can. There is a song, and when I asked you that question, it made me think of this song. And the lyrics to this song, the song is called I Can Only Imagine. And the chorus is surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I
Mm.
dance for you, Jesus, or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence, or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. So I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And those are good questions that you came up with. Nate Lucier, you're stuck with me for the rest of your life. Too good of a conversation, too good of a first impression. This man went and did his thing at the U23s, and he's been doing it for Binghamton for a long time. Part of the family here of the Bearcats and part of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Binghamton University on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Nate, it has been my honor, a blessing, and a privilege to have you here, and I look forward to keeping in touch and for you telling me your third question to Jesus once you know it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. This was I really didn't think it was going to be this great, but seriously, I really am at a loss for words. This was amazing. God bless.
God bless you too.